Julian, an 0-3 start. Frank Reich has said a few weeks in a row he knows this team is close. Panthers fans kind of get a little shaky when they hear that because of all the times Matt Rule said it.
Yeah.
What do you make of this team 3 weeks in?
Oh, man. They're a team that I think they're better than what they've shown. And I felt offensively when looking at the first 2 weeks, like, there's no way this team's this bad as far as the passing game goes. And then you got to see it today with Adam Thielen having 11 receptions, going over 140 yards through the air, had a touchdown as well. DJ Chark was involved with his 4 catches, 86 yards and a touchdown. You got to see him stretch the field, something that they hadn't had in the past. So you got to see what your top 2 receivers look like when given opportunities, also when they get open. So it was good to see that. So I do think the passing game, that's what it can be. Hopefully when Bryce Young comes back and he's healthy, that's what it looks like as well. I'm not really surprised that Andy Dalton played better than Bryce did the first 2 weeks because Andy Dalton's, 12th, 13th year in the NFL. Experience matters. Defensively, I think they can be good, but the problem is this team is just not healthy. And they're not going to have J.C. Horn, if they're not going to have Shaq Thompson, who's likely done for the season, if they're not going to have Brady Christensen, if Austin Corbett doesn't come back soon in the interior, they're going to continue to struggle on the O-line, especially with Throckmorton there and a young Chandler Zavala at left guard. I do think it's a better football team that they've shown. But they are deserving of 0-3 right now. When you turn the ball over 3 times week 1, when you struggle through the passing game and through the air on Monday against the Saints, and then today, when you can't stop the run and you don't convert on opportunities like you have after that Deion Jones interception, this is what happens. When you have the penalties, this is what you get. This is an 0-3 football team right now. Bill Parcells always said you are what your record shows you are, and so far they have looked like an 0-3 football team.
All right, quarterbacks are what their numbers say they are generally. Yeah. So how do you think Frank Reich and the organization handles things this week? You know, if Bryce Young is getting in the range of being healthy enough to play against Minnesota, but then you have Andy Dalton, who probably gives you the best chance to win on a single-week basis.
Yeah, Bryce needs to play.
Yeah.
The Carolina Panthers are in a situation where they're currently staring a top 5 pick in the face. Oh, that's right. They don't have a top 5 pick because they traded up to get Bryce Young. So if you trade up to get Bryce Young, you don't have an opportunity right now to help out your roster by drafting in the first round next year. Bryce Young needs to play. Andy Dalton said it earlier this week that he understands this is Bryce's thing. I'm sure he was happy to play. I thought he played very well considering. And I don't try to ever make too much out of a backup quarterback's performance. We have done that here in Carolina. I remember a time when Kyle Allen and the Panthers had won 4 straight games, even though he turned the ball over 3 times against the Texans, even though Jameis Winston turned over 5 times in that London game. But it was all Kyle Allen. Then what happened? Like, Andy Dalton's here to assist Bryce, and his job when he is called to play is to give him an opportunity to win. And I thought he did that today. So if Bryce Young is healthy next Sunday against Minnesota and beyond, he should be out there. He's their quarterback, and the future for Frank Reich, Scott Fitter, and a lot of people's organization is dependent upon Bryce Young developing into that franchise guy. So he needs to play.
All right, you mentioned at the beginning of this that you think the Panthers are better than this 0-3 start, Bill Parcells quote aside.
Yeah.
How much of this start is on coaching? How much of the way this looks is on the coaching staff and the people who built the team?
Well, you would think that if you have 13 penalties, that's on coaching, then discipline and the lack thereof on Sunday afternoon, and that's also just grown men having to be better. And they practice with the crowd noise. I don't understand how that can happen. So, of course, a part of it has to be on coaching. The offense looked much better, and I don't think it's just only Andy Dalton and a banged-up and poor Seattle Seahawks secondary. And Seattle was injured, too, today. They have 4 of their starting 5 offensive linemen that were out of the period of time of the game when Damian Lewis went out. So they were able to overcome it. The Carolina Panthers weren't able to overcome it. So I think a lot of it's on the injuries. It's got to be on coaching. It's not just one singular thing, which is why the Carolina Panthers right now are sitting at 0-3.